Hi, my name is Derek, and I'd like to welcome you to White Oak on Smith Lake, and we're going to go over some key points for your boat rental today. All right, so this is our 21-foot tri-tune boat rental. We're going to go through just a few kind of initial points for starting out the boat. Just kind of do a once-over with photos. This protects you, this protects us. So after you've taken your photos, then you're going to board from either of the three doors. So all you have to do to open the door is you lift and then push open and then let go, and that'll hold the door open. Then you can board the boat. All right, so once you've gotten the key out of the lockbox, then you'll take it and put it into the ignition. You don't need to turn it yet. First step is putting the engine down, all the way in the down position. You'll hear the sound change once it's all the way down. And then the next step would be hitting your main power button, which is the second button to the right, and that will give power to the head unit for the radio, which has Bluetooth. And then the chart plotter gives power to the chart plotter, which is kind of like your navigation for the lake. So this is your power button, and then just above it kind of acts as OK. So whenever you start the unit, it's going to give you this accept screen. You just hit OK to get started. And then there's your zoom out, zoom in, and then you can navigate the map using this. This black line is where the boat has been. So it's kind of a breadcrumb, if you will, to find your way home. Going up here, we'll give a quick overview. First button is horn. Second button is master or main power button. And then there's the two navigational lights and the docking lights. Second are auxiliary switches that are not hooked up, that don't do anything. In terms of gauges, first is RPM, second is voltage, third is fuel, fourth is trim, fifth are kind of like your warning lights. Really the two to pay attention on this is fuel and trim. You should receive it full, bring it back full. If you receive it at half tank, bring it back at half tank. Please notify us if you did receive it at half tank, because we do like to provide a full tank for our guests. Trim is the meter that shows you what position the engine is in. So it's just kind of a visual gauge rather than having to look back. The steering wheel does adjust with the lever underneath, pretty similar to how a car would work. And the final item is the safety kill switch, which should be worn at all times when navigating the boat. All right, so all of these minus this one, this is your battery. These all are storage, so they lift up, gives you relatively dry storage. And these two compartments is life vest and safety equipment. So if you are pulled over and you have a safety check, everything you'll need there, the fire extinguisher, whistle, all those items. And then there's enough life vests for 11, and then you have additional life vests here. And then this is for the young kids. There's kind of your varying sizes of life vests that can be used for the kids when you're underway, which is state law. Kids need to be wearing a life vest while the vessel is moving. Please note that the orange life vests are safety vests. They're not floating toys. They're not lake toys. Please don't use them as such. These are sports vests. If you want to use them when you're playing in the water and having fun, feel free to do so. Going to the back of the boat where there is a swim ladder. All you need to do is push out and let it fall into the water. It will naturally kind of expand. You can push it down when in the water to make it longer. So when retrieving the swim ladder, all you need to do is pull up and then kind of just allow it to push itself down into that compartment, and it'll stay secure. All right, so you've loaded all your friends, you've loaded all your family, all your gears on board. We're gonna start unhooking the boat. First thing, undo this and then leave this line here. It just, again, ensures that we always have lines available on the dock. All the lines stay on the dock. Go ahead and close all the doors just for safety. Again, make sure young kids are wearing a vest when the boat is underway. All right, so starting the boat. This is kind of a common thing that people will run into. If you're not in neutral, so this is forward, this is reverse. If you're not in neutral, the boat will not start. That's the first thing to remember. Second thing, when you turn the key, you're gonna hear one solid beep. When that beep is done, then the boat will start. Until that beep is done, it will not start. Think of that as kind of like a safety check. So after the beeps have finished, you just turn the key. Give the boat a few seconds, let it kind of get warmed up. Just kind of slowly tap it in gear. Same way as coming home as it is leaving. It's a lot easier just to kind of like coax your way out of the dock than trying to like drive it in. It just makes for a little bit of a smoother action. Bump it in reverse, get the boat moving, and then just kind of like use your hands to get it out. just kind of take your time, check each side, you know, like just kind of push off, make sure that, you know, the boat's not banging around in there as you're coming out. There's good deep water around here. Remember, Smith Lake is a rocky lake, so as you do get close to shore, you're going to have rocks. The most common issue that anyone would have when boating or damage would be anything with the engine. So just consider that, you know, you can't see what's under you. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're staying in the middle of the lake, and if you're in a skinnier part of the lake, just consider there's logs and rocks and things that could damage the propeller. All right, so we're kind of underway now. Again, using the throttle to push us away from the dock, and we're off to have a great day on Smith Lake. All right, just behind the engine here is your fuel tank. There is just one tank on board. So the closest fuel dock is Triple Creek Marina, which is just outside of this slough. Go under the bridge and make a right and you'll see it. It's right there in front of you. I always stop there coming home. So on your way back, pop through there, top it off, and then bring it home. All right, so we've got a great day on the lake. We're coming back into the slip. I've always found it to be a little bit easier just to kind of like coax the boat up to the slip rather than trying to like fully drive it on in. Once I get it close, I use my hands. So yeah, just use your hands just to kind of coax the boat in. This slough does get a kind of a side wind all the time, which wants to push the boat. It's got high walls, so it somewhat acts kind of like a big sailboat. You'll notice around the dock, there's fenders that are hanging. Just please leave those there. It just kind of helps protect it. So you can shut the boat down, turn off your main power, and then the very first line that you want to do, check, is this bow line. So the distance from the bow is the most important thing to keep in mind. So this is like a pretty safe distance, okay? So we're gonna set ourselves up for that distance, right? Like that's good. Over, twist, lock. And we tie this one, we can pull it because that one's already tied. So it stops, so we know that that's safe distance. You don't want it super tight. You wanna have a little bit of wiggle room. Keep the lines organized if you will. Please do not just throw them in the water. They'll get icky, gross, and nobody wants to touch an icky, gross bow line. Last one. Those two lines are holding the boat. This one's a safety line, just in case something were to happen. So this one can be loose. This one's just, you know, just a little safety line here. It doesn't need to be that tight. Again, wind it up, keep it organized for the person behind you. It is a floating dock, so you want to make sure that the bow is not jammed way up in the front and it's kind of getting smashed as other boats go by, but you also want to be considerate that, you know, the back of the boat is kind of under the overhang. All right, last thing, come back on board, make sure everything's good, make sure everything's off, take the key and then put the engine up. You'll raise it up until the sound changes. Motor's all the way up. Make sure you bring the key, gather all your belongings, lift, let go, and head back on in and have a great time. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great time on the lake and enjoy your rest of the time at White Oak.